Welcome to the show. This is the intro song that I'm gonna sing while my wife watches Mandalorian.
Yo, what's up, guys? This is going to be a really short, quick, down and dirty video. If you guys are unaware, if you're running Holley, HP, or Dominator or anything like that, Holley just very recently dropped Holley version 6 software. And I've been looking at some videos out there from Holley, Ryan Whitty, Devin Vanderhoof, all these guys with these overviews on the version 6. And I decided to give one of the neat features a try, and that is a rev limiter offset. This car, with the new converter from Dusty Bradford PTC, this new turbo from Force Performance, it lights off extremely quick, but it could always be better, right? So that's what we're gonna try today, and here's how we're gonna do it. First thing we have to do is figure out where this converter is going to grab onto the motor. How high can we get the motor to go without it popping and banging all by itself? So what I've done is this. So first things first, the laptop is not hooked up to the car whatsoever, so I came in here to my ignition parameters. When we went to the track this last outing, we were leaving at 3,800 RPM. That's the original rev limiter right there. So I have gone ahead and disabled that entirely. And then over here, here's my boost setup. I'm putting 5 pounds on the dome, and that equates to about 7 PSI, and it takes about 3 to 4 seconds. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna hook this up, load this tune into the car, and then we're gonna put it up on the trans brake, and we're gonna see what RPM it gets to and stays at. And it should be more than 3,800. Fingers crossed, it's kind of high. Let's get the laptop hooked up and we'll do a data log on this. Okay, so I've already started the car up, warmed it up a little bit, put some temperature into it. We're gonna go ahead, arm this thing fired up. Let's get linked up here. Okay. Firing! Starter data log. Trans brake's enabled. Pull it down into first gear. And make sure you got your foot on the brake. There's nothing ahead of you but my garage. Grab it. Okay. That is really loose. Okay. So that surprised me a little bit there. Not what I was expecting at all. If you saw that thing zinged. I saw 5,000 on the dash there, which probably was north of that. And that's with no boost, no popping and banging. So what I'm doing right now, when you do converter testing like that, it's gonna put a lot of heat in the converter. And so I'm running it through the gears right now, make sure we cycle some fluid through this thing. I got the fan on the trans cooler because I'm gonna make sure we don't hurt this thing and burn anything up doing this driveway testing. This can be exceptionally hard on components. Hard on. Okay, now we know that works. We're gonna go ahead and connect back up to the computer. One thing to note here, you can't change your rev limiters and stuff like that when you're actually hooked to the ECU. So you have to turn it off, go back down here, turn the limiter, enable rev limiter number 1. We're good there. I'm gonna go over here to my advanced tables. I'm gonna show you guys what I got going on here. So rev limiter 1 offset. So what this is, basically it's saying, hey, go ahead and raise the RPM for the rev limiter 500 more RPM to get this thing to build some boost a little bit quicker. So since I know this thing will scream to 5 grand, we're at 3,800. I'm gonna set this to 700 RPM more, which will let me go to 4,500 on the brake if it will. Well, let's start out small. We'll start with 500. We'll do it small. So until it reaches down here about, what did I say? 2 pounds of boost? No, let's make it 3 pounds of boost. I want to see 3 pounds of boost. Once I see 3 pounds of boost, I want it to start ramping back down to the standard rev limiter. So this will get me back into boost, or up into boost a little bit quicker. And then once I hit my target boost, which is around 7, I don't want to shut it down at 7, because at 7 pounds of boost, it could overshoot and do this back and forth thing and overboost. So at 6, I wanted to get back to normal. By that time, it should already be taken off and running on its own. So let's go ahead, hook back up, send to ECU, boom. Don't worry about these failed notices. That's just saying I changed the system, and I changed my advanced configurations. I'm gonna hit OK. I have to cycle the ignition, turn it back on. So, make sure we're neutral, trans brake armed. Let's go ahead and turn the car on. Start my data log. Make sure. Okay, the back of the car is in the air right now, so I'm gonna make sure I got my foot on the brake for sure. I'm gonna drive. Here we go. Brake, action. That worked. I saw down here on the table it ran through this. We stopped this. And review the data. Okay, here's the data. Let's talk about it. So this is from what we just did in the driveway here. So you can see I got the pieces of information that we find important. Number one, the green line at the top here is throttle position. As you can see from here to here, it's wide open the whole time. The red line up here is my RPM, and the green line down here in the bottom is boost. Now you can see we start at 0 seconds right here, straight off the bat, crack the throttle, and within 1.314, so call it 1.3 seconds, we are banging on the rev limiter. It's a 500 RPM offset, so it is up at 4250. That's roughly 500 RPM above the 3800 RPM rev limiter, the main one, okay? And the reason it's not a full 500 is because it's got a soft limiter. It starts to pop and bang before it actually hits that. That way, we don't overshoot our target and over rev the motor on we want our RPM to pop and bang at. And as you can see, the turbo, shout out to Force Performance and their wicked ass race proven turbochargers. I try to say it like Robert Young, but I just can't. I don't have that sick Texas accent. So we're starting to make 1 pound of boost already, okay? But it starts to take off. And as you can see here, let me zoom in just a little bit where you see, watch RPM up here and then watch boost down here, and watch the two of them kind of start to cross paths. As the RPM comes down, the boost is going to go up. Now our target is about 5 pounds, 5.5 pounds. So you're going to see it hits 5.5, and then it's going to start to level off right there at 5.5, 5.6. So let's back up until we see 5.5 pounds of boost. We're back down to our original target RPM for the rev limiter. And how long did that take us? Holy shit balls, guys. 2.6 seconds. So from 0 to 2.6 seconds, we are spooled up, bumping in, ready to go. Now that's pretty badass. That means no more getting burnt down by nitrous cars. You can stage first, you can stage last, you can stage whenever the hell you want to. Whenever all the nitrous grudge racers are over there done figuring out who the the DP, man, who's going to hold the punk out money, and they have their 10-minute tea party over there in the goddamn burnout box with 15 million pairs of hands on the back fenders to make sure the car goes straight through there, and then they spend a minute and 15 seconds, I'm talking to you, Brian Ward, purging every goddamn kit that they have on the car, banging it through the motor. Finally, somebody's washed the dishes, done eating their sandwiches, and they stage, and you can grab the button on your steering wheel, mat the gas, and in 2.6 seconds, you too will be ready to go. Now, let's compare this advanced rev limiter to what we just did at the track, okay? So this is just the trans brake from when I was at the track this past weekend, okay? And you can see how long this one is. 0, nothing, nothing. 1 second, we finally come up off of vacuum, and we start to finally... What are you doing, bro? Finally, we are... How far into this are we? Look at this. Still no boost. Still no boost. Like, it takes us a full second to finally start making boost. We're stuck at the 3,800 RPM rev limiter. See, it's popping and banging back and forth. All right. Boom. We're creeping. We're creeping. We're creeping. What did we say in the last one? 2.6 seconds. And we were ready to go. At 2.6 seconds here, we are only at 3.5 pounds of boost. Okay. So I'm still waiting. Okay, 3 seconds in. Still waiting. It's tickling. It's starting to light off a little bit here. Okay, 3.5 seconds in. I'm still only at 5 pounds. Remember, we're looking for 5.5. 5.5. 5.5. The converter's getting hotter and hotter by the second here. By the way, we haven't even started to bump in yet. The 7-second countdown has already begun. We're about to get timed out. There we go. Oh, 5.5. 5.5, 5.6, right there. Okay, now we are there. At this point, this setup right here, you're going to see it built a little bit more boost, and it got up to, it's about 5.7, 5.8, almost 6 pounds. And the reason I think it did that is because all this time, this 4 seconds here of the RPM, this is building a ton of heat. So all that heat's getting into the exhaust. In 2.5 seconds, it's not getting that much heat. So as you can see from that, using nothing but keystrokes on the computer, we have shaved over 1.5 seconds off of the spool time of our turbo. And if I played with it a little bit more, maybe raised the RPM up, added more boost to the thing, messed with the timing. I haven't even touched the timing table. We could probably increase that significantly. So shout out to Holley EFI and all the folks over there at Holley Performance Products. Shout out to Ryan Whitty, Devin Vanderhoof, everybody that made a video on this. And I'm just regurgitating the information that these guys, these gentlemen have all put out there already. Like, I am not the keeper of secrets. I didn't write this software, come up with this idea. These guys did. And they put it out there into the ether for all of us to download, digest, and interpret. And I just thought it would be kind of cool to actually put it on a car and show it to you guys in person. A lot of these guys were just doing screen shares, and that's totally cool. I can learn that way, but I know some people out there can't, and they want to see it in action. They want to see before and after. So there you have it. I can't wait to get to the track and do some heads-up racing with Killface and test this out. I hope you guys like that. This is a short one. Head over to clapdout.com/store, buy some merch and shit like that. We got a whole bunch of stuff over there. I'm out.